So I came back here today, Saturday, it's the next day. So they've really been cleaning house here, and I think that it looks like they repainted the sign here, or put new lettering up for the St. Calixtus division. I seem to remember the cross being tilted. So, let's see what else is new. Yesterday I discovered that they put up these street signs. That's funny, they still call it Boundary Avenue. I would have thought they'd rename that, because it's not really, well, I mean, the boundary doesn't, it's not wholly the boundary anymore. Anyway, I discovered yesterday that they put up these old street names, signs for these old street names that go back to the 1840s, 1850s. So I guess now you can get mail delivered here, right? I just saw something I am certain I've never seen out here, and don't ask me why, but I pay attention to this. I just saw a woman groundskeeper, a woman cemetery worker. I've never seen a woman out here working. And like I said, don't ask me why, but I pay attention to these things. It reminded me of, it's actually in this same vicinity, somewhere around here I saw something I'd never seen before. It was a woman cab driver, a yellow cab driver. And it just made me realize that, like, I did some little bit of research into it, and yeah, yellow cab drivers, livery drivers in New York are just about like 99% men. It's not like that in other cities. I came back out here today because I don't mean to sound like I'm obsessed with the chapel or anything, but I would like to get in there if I can. And if it's going to be open any day of the week, it's going to be today, because they do their weekly field mass at 10 a.m. And by the way, I'm sorry, but this is an erotic, an erotic tombstone, by my estimate. This is one of my favorites out here. I don't know anything about viola, the bastard instrument of the orchestra. But if it's going to be open any day of the week, these days it would be today. So we'll find out. If not, I don't care. I needed a nice brisk walk on a cool day. And they're flying the planes in over the cemetery this weekend. And I guess my interest is further piqued on account of all the other house cleaning they've been doing around here. Maybe that means they gave the inside of this place a fresh coat of paint or something. That's all it really needs to go a long way toward making it seem like less of a dump than it is on the inside. I see a light on inside, but nothing doing. Thanks a lot, God. So this little patch of grass, this little square, is, to the best of my knowledge, this is the only New York City park contained within a cemetery. And it goes by various names. This sign says Calvary Park, but it's excuse me, but this is also known as the Soldiers Monument, the Civil War Memorial, the I don't know, a couple other things. I actually played a small part in at least commencing the renovation of this thing. You can see that the one guy, the Axeman, has a relatively fresh coat of paint compared to the other guys who have been moldering away out here since the 1860s, I think. There used to be brass eagles on the four corners. You can see where they've been stolen. I think 3 of them got stolen, and they store one of them over in the garage over by the Mausoleums. So I've only ever seen those in photos. There also used to be little brass cannons on the corners of the structure. You can see where they used to be, and there also used to be, I don't remember what, some kind of plaque up here, and all that stuff gets stolen. I'm surprised they didn't walk off with the life-size statues of these guys. When I say I played a small part, I first discovered this thing, and I did a good amount of research into it, and my interest in it was enough to engage the interest of the Parks Department, which was trying to get this thing renovated and restored. I didn't realize that they were working on that around the same time I discovered it, so they took my interest in the subject as a bit of evidence that the public was interested in seeing this thing restored to its glory. So they issued a paper documenting what they did and the steps they took to get funding and everything. And I got a laugh out of reading the paper and finding my name and my website listed in the footnotes as someone who had contributed new information to their research. Like I found stuff they didn't know about. I don't even remember what it was anymore, but it was good fun. There used to be some kind of chemical plant over here, sort of in the direction of the bridge back there, and that partly explains why all this metal looks so conspicuously worn and eroded. Somebody stole whatever this plaque said, or whatever this plaque was. Somebody stole the cross. They even stole the cross. Can you believe that? Have they no shame? Back in the day, like, scrap metal was a really lucrative thing to get into. They stole all kinds of shit from Flushing Meadows, Corona Park. I'm surprised they didn't walk off with the whole Unisphere, for Christ's sake. The thing weighs like 700,000 pounds. But yeah, there was I think the mob was the big player in the scrap metal thing. And that's probably has some connection to who stole all this stuff. This guy was supposed to be holding either a musket or I don't know what, maybe a spear or something. You can see where his hand would be holding it, and if you go down here, you see where it would have been supported, or it would have been held up, but somebody stole that. Well, for all that though, I still really find this to be very charming I guess maybe that's not the right word, but very expressive. In this guy's face in particular. This was, there's been at least one book written about Phillip Cardillo. He was an NYPD, was murdered in the line of duty in 1972. Unless some new research or new investigation has taken place in the last, I don't know how many years. The murder was never solved. They never got the perp. So every year, on the anniversary of his death, there's a motorcycle rally of, I'm not sure who it is exactly, but it's some group of people that comes out here every year, hundreds of them, to remember and to commemorate. And like I said, I did buy the one book about this. I didn't get all the way through it, but it's an intriguing mystery as to how a police officer could get killed like that with no indictments or no prosecution. This is section 4, is the same area as the Soldiers Monument. So where the Soldiers Monument is the only park property within a New York City cemetery, this is said to be the only known Protestant cemetery contained within a Catholic cemetery. And this is the Alsop family yard. The Alsops owned this property and sold it to the diocese, with the St. Patrick Diocese, under the condition that their family cemetery would be maintained. You don't see a lot of these old style markers in New York. You see them in the lower Manhattan cemeteries, I think, but not too many others. These are more commonly associate these with Boston. And just to wrap up what I was saying earlier, I don't think I really finished the narrative on this, was only one of the statues, the Axeman, got painted, and the others did not, just because they ran out of money. There's no way to secure funding for something like this. It's on private property. It's a pretty obscure location, but a very similar monument by the same artists, the Draddy Brothers, that exists out at Greenwood Cemetery, and that one got fully renovated. But Greenwood is more of a destination than this little patch of grass in Calvary. So, and it's been long enough now that I guess they're never gonna get their funding. So this is old news by now. But anytime I see the Johnston Mausoleum, I'm just reminded of what my first thought was. Well, my first thought was what? I had no idea how filthy this thing was. And they cleaned it up. And the remaining question is, why and where'd they get all the money for that? Because there must have been 100 people working on that. And they looked like union guys, so they were probably making $50 an hour. And they were out here for several days. I don't know. But between that and they putting in the new, or I should say the old street name signs. They're really cleaning house around here. I guess they're not doing the mass though, the Saturday field mass, because I think their last time I checked their website, it didn't say they were not doing it anymore. They used to have that message up there that they were not doing the mass until further notice. They took that notice down. Maybe it's back. I don't know. I didn't check. So this sign says Cathedral Avenue. I was hoping that with the new signs that they might identify this as the Valley of the Mausoleums, which is what it's named on some of the old maps. Like old meaning, 1870s, 1880s. I don't see any sign to that effect. Looks like it's starting to accumulate dirt and filth again. Or maybe they never fully gave it the complete scrubbing, I don't know. Somebody, I linked to it somewhere. Somebody got a drone footage of the inside of this mausoleum. But the door is not even open. A crack now. Not that I would want to do that anyway. Not that I would want to trespass. One of the best views from of Calvary is up here. It's over this way. Probably the best view. IMO. IMHO. I guess YMMV, right? To each their own. I think this is a great view, though. I think those trees are new. These two that are closer. I'd have to look at my older pictures, but I think they're relatively new. And there's the chapel rising up in the distance. That structure with the cross, that's the storage garage where at least one of the brass eagles that used to be on the corners of the Civil War monument, at least one of those is, as far as I know, still stored in there. One mystery about the mystery to me is there has to be a perfectly boring explanation for it, but something I never got to the bottom of with that Civil War monument is why the veterans that are buried there are unnamed. I think there were supposed to be 17 or maybe as many as 20. That was my correspondence with the Parks Department included that question, and they didn't have any idea why they were unnamed. one of my unique contributions to the internet. Was pinpointing the exact spot where Vito Corleone would have been buried in The Godfather. And this was the kind of thing, you talk about a movie that's been scrutinized and analyzed and dissected to every possible level. I was really surprised to find that nobody had done this. Nobody had found this spot. I mean, every other filming location has been pinpointed down to the latitude and longitude coordinate, but not this one. And this is where it would have been. The real clue, it was pretty obvious what section it was in. It was from the filming. I remember that I had that figured out. It was the moment I started watching the funeral scene from that movie. But the real clue was this, the daily marker, which at the time of the filming, the top of it was turned the other way. And that merely indicates that at some point the top of this thing got knocked off, and you can see where it's not connected completely. So this the daily name was facing this way, and that's how I was able to pinpoint it. And I was a little confused about it at first, but then because why was it facing a different direction? But I quickly did the math, and this is where Al Pacino and all these guys were sitting, and the other dudes were all standing over here. You could see the Kosciuszko in the background. It was a cool find. Getting back to that, the Civil War monument. I had said it was the work of the Draddy Brothers, and these are them. They're actually buried at the same cemetery where they did a lot of their work. And I guess it's not kosher to build your own tombstone, so they hired the competing company, A.H. Bowie. But this was one of my, I was talking about the Parks Department doing its research into that Civil War memorial. This was one of my contributions to their summary findings. They had no idea that the Draddys were actually buried in the same yard as that Civil War monument. And I found this totally by chance. Man, this seems kind of harsh. Why would they trash this angel? I tried lifting it, it's really heavy. Oh, wait, no, it's not. It was just jammed. Well, I'd love to take you home with me, but might look like I'm stealing it. I think I misspoke yesterday when I said St. Mary's Avenue leads down to the Valley of the Mausoleums. It doesn't actually do that, but it doesn't matter. Boundary Avenue was so named because it delineates the boundaries of the yard. But I was curious, I'm interested to see if, because the maps I'm thinking of, the ones I'm referring to, are from the 1870s and earlier, before they expanded this yard out to section like 48, I think. I think that was one of the newer sections. Be interested to see if they still call it Boundary Avenue, even though it's not the boundary of the cemetery anymore. And if they didn't name it that, what did they name it? Let's find out. I don't remember ever seeing this one before. reads Julio and Lilia down the side. That's cute. And they spelled inspired wrong. Maybe that was deliberate. So now I'm over in section 48, I think. And the maps that I'm thinking of are from before. These sections in the 40s, numbered in the 40s, before the maps I'm thinking of didn't have these sections yet, so these have to be newly named streets. Or, I mean, relatively new, I don't know. St. Calixtus, St. Thomas, and over here, to add to the confusion, this looks like it's called St. Jerome Avenue on one side, and St. Thomas on the other. Sure is a perfectly plausible explanation for all that. But, oops, there's somebody. I actually went out of my way to avoid butting in on a service earlier, a funeral service. And I've been trying to remain vigilant about that kind of thing. I think I'm gonna head out of here. And just one last one. It took me a while to find this one again. I always thought this was the coolest sepulchral portrait ever. And I still do. Dude with his, proudly wearing his scuba gear. But man, if you want a horror story, look up this guy. Look up that name. Vincenzo De Gaetano. Leaving in sorrow, wife and child for the horrible death in the Harlem River. I think he was underwater, I think trying to repair electrical wires or something. Whatever the case, he was deep underwater when his air hose snapped. And they knew immediately upstairs what had happened, and they yanked him up. But he was already like turning black from suffocation. It's as if we need the reminder that every second can be your last. But yeah, look up that guy. Look up this name. See what you find. I haven't looked him up in a long time, but I'm pretty certain there was a New York Times obit for him. And I'm going to get this location once and for all. I always forget to do this. I can never remember exactly where this one is, but I found it today.